when the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality. Open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the book club by DLC.
Hello there, book clubbers. Hope you're dancing. Hope you're having a good week. I'm Jeff Kanata. I'm here with Lana Bachynski. Hi, Lana.
Hello, good morning. This week, just quickly, as many people do, if I'm doing something around the house, if I'm getting ready, I'll do a little bit of talking to myself and I'll be like, oh, where's my keys? Or, just those little things. And this week I said something and I think I was getting ready and grabbing things and I went, oh, I'm so hungry. And then like a few minutes later, my husband goes, so do you want to get food later? And I go, oh my God, I'm so hungry. And he goes, I know. How do you know? And he goes, you said it out loud. And then as we're leaving, he goes, that's real Iskerl Puss energy of you.
I love it. How could you possibly know what I was thinking?
What do you mean you knew I was looking for me? I was just looking for my keys. And thank you. Yeah, I know. You were talking about it the whole time.
He thinks he can read my mind. Boy, he's just standing right there, just staring at me like,
what a fool, a handsome fool.
Amazing. I also love that we both, without planning for it, wore our Son of Darkness black.
Yeah. Look, when the vibes is right, you gotta lock it in.
Hey man, when the Son of Darkness arrives, you gotta get ready. We are in our penultimate episode of Toll the Hounds, ladies and gentlemen. It's exciting. Chapters 21 and 22 this week. Only one more episode, and then this book comes to a close. We are crescendoing. Woo, these chapters. Can't wait to dive in.
Mm-hmm.
But we like to start the show with a non-spoiler topic, ideally submitted by you, our viewers, listeners. And you can do that by sending us an email to dlcfeedback@gmail.com. You can also post in our Discord, which is 5x5DLC on Discord. This one was sent as an email. This comes from someone whose name I hopefully can pronounce correctly. We're going to try. Pareputiputi? I think it's a New Zealand thing. Anyway, Pareputiputi writes, first things first, book club good. Secondly, book club fun, dancing superb, jokes the best. Thirdly, you don't have permission to stop after the series. Sorry, yeah, it's a group decision, and I can feel the fan base concur, so cool. Thanks in advance, guys.
Oh, so sweet.
Now, onto the non-spoiler topic suggestion. Pareputiputi says, I'm starting to think about how I would sell this book series to someone who was interested, or just a simple explanation of what it is to be a curious human, not the weird kind, but the inquisitive sort. At this point, I'd say Malazan is like a cocktail of the MCU plus Harry Potter plus Lord of the Rings plus Miyazaki films plus Game of Thrones plus Greek mythology smashed together. MCU for overpowered super beings, Harry Potter for fun magic absurdism, Lord of the Rings for detailed lore and history, Miyazaki for war and magic, like Princess Mononoke, Game of Thrones for darker themes, many character POVs, cool arcs, Greek mythology for all of the rape, etc. No, but there is so much God stuff. I would love to know how you would explain Malazan to someone, and if you'd use different examples I have mentioned or a cocktail analogy. Lots of love, Pareputiputi.
Wow.
So, I will say that before I ever cracked the cover of my Kindle, but with Gardens of the Moon on it, before we ever dove into this series at all, I had read a number of people attempting to sum up what Malazan is.
Mm.
And it always felt very confusing. Just the description of it. People would say things like, it can't be explained. You can't sum it up. Lord of the Rings is about a lot of things, right? But it's also about the fact there's this ring and they got to toss it into a volcano. Lots of other stuff happens, but that's the plot, right? That's your one line. Most stuff can be summed up. What's it about? I think Malazan is much more difficult in that regard. So I'm curious, Lana Bachynski, have you attempted to do this? And if you were to do it, how would you do it?
I think it's interesting. I haven't thought about trying to sum it up necessarily, of being like, here's the synopsis, because there are so many books and there's so much going on. And I do feel like the way that I would describe it really depends on who I'm talking to. Because I think for a lot of people, I'm very much in the mindset, I know that you are, about film and many film and television. Like, tell me little, it's a great rec, I'll take it. Right. So what the thing that you said to me when you started reading is it's supposed to be notoriously one of the most challenging fantasy series of all time. And I'm very competitive, and I'm like, I'll be the judge of that. That's all it takes to have
challenge me.
There. Challenge
I
me.
heard someone say you can't read it, Lana. That's what I heard.
Challenge accepted. So I think that alone could be the right qualifier to get somebody intrigued to see, like, how does something even gain that kind of notoriety?
Yeah.
I think to other folks, the way that I have been describing it, and I mean, I talk about it all the time, but like week over week, somebody else will be like, oh, you're in a book club. I'm like, yeah, it's sort of an atypical book club, but I am. And sort of chatting about what we're reading is more through just the lens of my experience. And so rather than trying to like relate it to other content, it's like it's a fantasy epic book, but there are whole sections in this book that have been like laughing out loud funny. Like, cannot wait to read it out, like sections out loud to my husband while he's on the couch, even with no context, because they're so joyful. And sections that just help me even think about the current state of the world that I'm living in and process and sort of just relate to it. It just feels so relatable. And then the third piece that I often throw in there is like, how does it read? Well, it does read as though every chapter kind of feels like very contained, like its own short story. So you really feel like you come away all the time with something interesting, a cool thing that's happened to these characters in this world, little bit of knowledge, sometimes a lore thing, sometimes a cool battle, but it really feels like these many little arcs, and the full picture of it ends up being this beautiful picture. But that I sort of describe it in bits, because that's how it feels kind of to read. Yeah.
I think that's an interesting approach. All respect to Pareputiputi, I don't think I would go about it in the way they do, in sense of like comparing it to other media things, because I think that does it a disservice, because it really isn't quite like anything else, even though obviously there are certain comparison points, and Pareputiputi makes several excellent ones. But I do think that it is a series that cannot be summed up easily, and I think that's what I like about it. One of the things I love about it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've been thinking in my head is it's kind of about everything. It's kind of everything. It defines epic in the sense that there are so many characters and so many subplots and so much going on, that somehow Erikson finds time to discuss all of it, all of the human condition, every nook and cranny, the ugly parts, the beautiful parts, the heroic parts, the ugly things. It is extraordinary in that it really is about it has to do with a lot of beings that aren't human, and yet it speaks to the entire spectrum of the human condition. It speaks to all the nook and crannies of our psyches that are ripe for exploration, that are ripe for reflection upon. It really is a journey through what it is to be conscious and having existed in a lineage of history, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does so in a fictional place with all kinds of made up stuff, but all of that stuff applies and allows for sort of better understanding of our own situation, and the best way that science fiction and fantasy does, where it in abstraction, in invention of fictional things, it allows us to have a better understanding of the real world. And that's a terrible thing to explain, a way to explain it to somebody. It's so rambling and incoherent. And I think that's part of the problem I have. So I rely on our favorite two words: books good.
Books good.
Books good.
Read them. Thank me later.
That's right.
It.
That's right.
And I do think that those are the two pieces. And like thinking about the people that you would want to recommend things to, I'm like, you're going to fall into two categories. One, where the long and heartfelt description of how it has affected me, or that how you, I think, quite. I can't even say, you said it very well about the human condition, all of that. There's somebody who needs all of that to be like, oh, I cannot wait to dive in. And then there's the other bucket of people that need book good.
Yeah.
And run. And I think there's like almost no in between. I don't know. I don't know the quick slogan that is the middle ground here, but I think those are the two buckets I live in.
We were talking about this a little bit this last week because Lana was our main guest on the video game show as well. And we were talking about it a little bit at the end of the show. And I think, this is, if not the tippity top, it's among the best, not just reading experiences, but like media experiences I've ever had. Mm-hmm. There's very few things that compare to the experience that I've had reading these books, because I think the books are that good, but also our interaction in this community and like this process has been so pleasurable and fun. But I think these books are very special. And, there's so many people that talk about, adapt them into this and, make them into a movie, make them into a TV series, make them into an animated thing. And it's like, one of the things that I love about Malazan is it exists in its perfect form. And I don't think that's always true. Like, I think an argument, I love Lord of the Rings, and I reading it as a kid, but I feel like those movies did a really good job of expressing the same. There's going to be people that are going to get real mad at me for saying that, but like, I think there's another thing that meant a lot to me as a younger person, and that's the graphic novel Watchmen, Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' Watchmen, and for the longest time they said it was like unadaptable, and then Zack Snyder proved that to be true. And that's kind of how I feel Malazan is. Like it is perfect. Like this, the reading experience, the like one-to-one relationship I have as a reader to the author it's just the way this story was meant to be expressed. Anyway, I think maybe Erikson will disagree. He's like, no, adapt them, dudes.
I that's why I think it's like we already have the perfect thing, but I will consume 10,000 imperfect things afterwards.
Oh, certainly. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying like this reading experience. That's the thing I tell most people when I try to convince them to give it a shot. Is, hey, I know it's intimidating, and these books are big and long, and there's 10 of them, and then there's more after that. But it is so worth it. It's so good.
Yeah.
And these chapters are great. So let's get into it. We got a lot to get into. So spoilers starting now, chapters 21 and 22. Unless you had something else you wanted to say.
I was just going to say, that non-spoiler traffic really triggered our trap card of wanting to just gush about the books.
I know.
We have to get on to gushing about the book.
It really is our trap card. That is. Tell me how good this good book is. Well, we have 2 words and then 1,000 more words to tell you the same thing. All right. Chapter 21 is an amazing chapter. Just an amazing, amazing chapter. It starts with we have the fallout of Murillo's death. Cutter is on his way to try to get Harllo back himself, and arrives at the mines, and Gorlas is still there. Gorlas Viticus is still there, and he's like, what's the deal with this kid? People keep coming for this kid.
Obsessed with the child.
Yeah. He, of course, assumes that it's Cole who came, but no. It's actually Crocus. And Gorlas, I think, is not under any illusion. He knows what's been going on. He knows who's been doing it. He sees Crocus. He knows exactly what's up. And he's certain that Crocus is here just to deal with this whole chalice situation. And Crocus is like, no, I'm here for the boy. Of course, like, what is up with this boy? The boy's dead.
Yeah. And even Gorlas in that moment being like, buddy, I can't believe you let her manipulate you. She's so transparent, and it's so sad that you don't see that.
Yeah. So good. Which is like not true.
Not wrong.
That's right. So good. But the way this all plays out is so rad. Crocus is insulting Gorlas. Gorlas is insulting Crocus. The foreman is just standing there like watching it all like a tennis match, just standing in the corner. And he's like, Gorlas is like, okay, let's get this kid a sword. They grab this rusty old rapier with an unwrapped hilt. Of course, like, hey, sorry, man. It's the best we can do. You should have brought a sword. I don't know why you even came here with that one.
I love that Crocus is also just like, okay, what's the next right insult?
Yeah.
How do I nudge this in my direction? And keeping up being like, I don't want to use that sword. And then Gorlas being like, oh, you don't want to use the sword, so you want to dispense with whatever, like normal? Because you've been insulting me so much. And Crocus is like, you heard him? Everybody heard him? Everybody heard him say that he wants to do that?
We're dispensing.
We're all dispensing? Great.
So awesome. And then, we've just come off this incredible description of the duel with Murillo. I'm like, oh man, we're going to get another duel. And this is maybe the end of Crocus. Oh my God, Gorlas is so, nope. Just like we don't even see it. It's so fast. The knives flash out. Gorlas
obviously
dead.
It's so good. It is such a you think a duelist would beat an assassin? It's like a debate you have in like a room after a couple drinks with your friends being like, okay, would you win if you were a duelist or an assassin? And everybody's like, that's not even a good one. Assassin, obviously. And Steven Erikson's like, yeah, obviously. Especially this assassin. So awesome. Just like this unceremonious flump on the ground and then being like, anyway, Foreman, I think that your debts are kind of like free if nobody comes to collect. But like just immediately moves on like to business of like taking care of these other people who are looking at Crocus being like, you're more like us. I wasn't sure who to root for. I still don't know who to root for, but it's done now.
It's so awesome because he slumps over and Crocus is like, so, you saw that we dispensed. Remember the whole dispense bit that I made a point to say we're dispensing? And guess what? You know what? And I never even challenged him to a duel. Remember? I never challenged him. Remember that? And the foreman's like, yeah. He's like, hey, quick question. If he's dead, do you think I still owe money? And Crocus is like, I don't know, man, but it seems cool with me. Like I say you're cool.
It literally happened so fast in my reading that I went back and I was like, but he's dead. He died. He died. It, like flipping back and forth. Well, it's so funny. In my brain, I'm flipping back and forth between the page on the Kindle, tapping the screen back and forth, being like, "He's dead." That was like instantaneous.
So
and then
awesome.
I like stopped and just smiled at the ceiling, like internally laughing. Like, what a funny, amazing thing to do. An amazing way to defeat this Chumbawamba.
The heartbreaking part is that everyone legitimately thinks that Harllo is dead, right? And
Yeah.
so he's done this thing. He's vanquished the monster here, and you feel like, oh, he can swoop in and save Harllo, but everybody legitimately thinks he's dead, so he feels he failed. Harlow's left in the wind, and you just have this sense of victory that's tinged with tragedy because Crocus, goes away downtrodden, sad, the crying literally crying in his seat, which I thought was just awesome.
Yeah.
Because you have, you as the reader, you're just like, one more bit of information. One more.
Yeah. Just say he escaped. Like it's not even like if he wasn't here, there's just, yeah.
And then we immediately cut over to Vanaz, who's chasing or who's attempting to track down Harllo and Baynisk. He finds Baynisk's dead body, the bottom of that ravine, realizes that all his belongings are gone, and of course Harllo isn't there. So goes, Harllo is still alive. I'm gonna go get him.
Yeah. Well, he has that debate of being like, well, I'm going to get his belongings because, man, I've always wanted those belongings. But also, like, he's constantly thinking, he's got real Snell energy, this kid.
Yeah.
Of how is this going to be better for me?
I think this sequence of chasing him through this tiny little crack is so thrilling. Just an amazing idea for a chase sequence where he's squishing, squirming, pulling, climbing, getting in between this crack, and he knows that Harllo is up ahead of him, a little higher, and then finally sees him and starts like taunting him, so that he realizes that he is in the disadvantageous position of being below him, and that all the Harllo has to do is like cause a cave-in, and he's screwed. So he figures out a way to scare him so much that he'll just try to get out of there and run.
So good.
So good.
And like the tension of being like, oh, I have to breathe in as much as I can fill my lungs with air so that my chest is a cork.
Yeah.
It's like the climb it's grueling. It's so cool.
So cool. Then we pop over, that's kind of coming to a close. He's like singing, Harllo, I'm coming to get you.
I see you.
So cool. But then we cut away to Thordy, who watches her husband Gaz leave. The first, maybe there was a couple in the previous chapters that I didn't clock because I didn't know to clock it. But I think it's the first time we get, hey, there's no moon in the sky.
No, they had a couple in the previous chapters saying there's no moon, which my brain, was it? I thought it was something when they had all the people sort of cresting the hill, looking over at Dujasan from Krupp's perspective. It said something about the moon. I could be crazy, but the no moon in the sky, my brain immediately went to, when did this moon leave the sky before? And when I was reading this, I was thinking about Pust's wife, whatever her name is, and how she used that to do something with the spider goddess that one time. So, interesting.
Well, Thordy slashes her own wrists with a kitchen knife, which I thought was a fun swerve because you think, oh, she just can't take it anymore. Not the case.
You can tell there's some ritual. She's been doing it every day, and then she's like, Gaz is gone, but I'm like, oh, her sacrifice is part of whatever this ritual is, but I don't know what.
Then we check in with another homestead, Torvald Nam's house, where Tessera is getting some bad vibes as well. She's like, something's going on. She goes over and looks at the hidden stash of blue Maranth munitions, and they're gone.
But she's happy about that.
Yeah. She's like, well, I know my husband can survive. Like, that's the one thing he's good at is surviving.
And he's going to do everything that he can. He's taken all
Yeah.
these wacky missions. He's going to do what he can.
Yeah. So then we check in quickly with Blend. Fisher and Duiker are, moping. Everybody's, Solara has left. Ansi and Berth are all in jail. Picker is still comatose. So she's like, I'm out of here. Then we have a really interesting scene with Char, who has been left behind, of course, by Lady Spite on her ship. And he finds the lance of the Soldier of Death, which was left there 1 book ago, when that Soldier of Death, that undead Segula, showed up and left it there. And the soldier said that Hood sent him to meet a son of Darujistan. This is what the cheat sheet I'm reading tells me. I don't recall that specifically, but
I have like the vaguest memory of it. I believe it.
I
I believe
it
that
too.
happened.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Char leaves the ship, off to find Berthal. Lady Spite has found her sister's estate, and she's getting ready. She hears the hounds howl, and we're just the rising tension of all the little chess pieces moving into place in Darujistan. Then we have a scene. I love this. I love the way this is all handled. This guard, this unnamed guard. We have, in the course of Malazan, hundreds, I'll say, maybe more, maybe thousands, hundreds at least, named characters in this series of novels. We get named characters that only exist for a few paragraphs. This is a guy who has several scenes, several of his own POV scenes, and is never named. And I love that.
Yeah.
Love
Unnamed
it.
guard. How can unnamed guard be memorable character? It's like just one of the many reasons. That's the selling point. Unnamed, even unnamed guard will be memorable character in these books.
One of my favorite characters in the whole series is unnamed guard. Which, in another context, might seem like not a good thing to say about a series of books.
I guess that could go either way.
In this case, a very positive thing, because he's been investigating these murders. He's feeling physical stress and pain. His arms are hurting. He's the burden of this job of finding this murder and stopping these beatings that are happening in the alleys is weighing on him. And he has wife who loves him, kids who love him, who he hugs before leaving to go off on his investigative guard duty. And he's trying to solve this murder. Then we pop in and see Rallick, Colmeese, and Krupp. Rallick leaves the Phoenix Inn. Again, tension building, popping in, seeing all the other things that are happening. Sebrefar is gathering all the assassins for the Assassin's Guild, even the noobs. Gathering them all together, separating them into 3 groups. They're going to he says, I'm going to kill a counselor. There'll be a counselor dead in the morning.
Which counselor did we see which one it was? Did you suspect which one it was in this moment?
I thought it was Cole, right? No?
Yeah.
I thought it was, they're going to kill Cole so that it opens up a space on the Council for Humble Measure, right?
But you didn't have any thoughts that was going to go elsewhere. I didn't know if Cole fell under the protection. I guess Cole's not one of the Malazans, but they were like, leave everybody alone at the Phoenix Inn. And Cole's sort of part of that group. So I wasn't sure if he would fall under those protections or not.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. That Fisher put in place you're talking about. Yeah. I didn't really think about it, but yeah, interesting. Obviously that doesn't come to pass, but then we see Shardan Lim coming back to the Vidicus estate. He is been told that Gorlas is dead, and he is scheming. He's got plans. This is like the best thing that could ever happen to him. He's like, I know what I'll do. What I was going to do was literally like impregnate Chalice and have a baby. And then I would be basically a father to the heir of the Viticus estate and just usurp it that way. But now I don't have to. Well, I still will, but I don't have to. It can happen much quicker now.
I'm so sorry if you can hear noise. I did not expect there to be noise this morning. So really sorry for any ambient. Okay, great. It's so loud.
Okay.
But man, there's like that one scene where this guy seemed like, oh, he's being such a gentlemanly adulterer, and you're like,
yeah.
Oh, this is so good for them. And now you're like, oh, no, just a scumbag. He is a scumbag.
Total scumbag. Yeah.
Full scum. I mean, obviously the previous scene where he like raped Chalice also pointed that out. But like the continued, it's like anybody can put on a nice little face and they're still scumbag.
Yep. I love how these three writers who they sent off to deliver the fact that, to let the estate know that Gorlas has been killed, who they had, they passed Crocus as he's like weeping in his saddle. They pass him. They arrive there. And Gorlas is like, hey, you have a message for Lady Chalice? I mean, not Gorlas. Shardan is like, hey, you have a message for Lady Chalice? I'll
deliver it.
I'll deliver it. What's up? And he's like, oh, it was so sad. There was a duel. And this guy's like, ain't no duel, bro. I saw the whole thing.
That's the part that I was like, oh, man. Like, Cutter had all that energy to be like, we all saw it. We heard him. And they send the one guy.
The one guy who's like,
who didn't hear that?
I know what's up.
Silly. So silly.
But Shardan is like, oh, man.
He's
this
like,
is going to be great.
No, that's horrible.
So terrible. I'll tell her. Let me tell her. I can tell her.
Chalice's like, what's up? And he's like, I'm here to party.
Well, she thought he was there to party, right? She's dressed in her slinkiest outfit, ready to meet him. And he walks in and he has a different look on his face, and she like pulls her nightie around her tighter.
That beat of like, because it's the next scene cutting right to Chalice, right?
Yeah.
And her sort of being in this space where she's like, her own sense of internal griminess that she's feeling of like taking back the power. Like, oh, you think that I'm going to be like, try and be proper for you, knowing everything that like is going on. Nobody has any illusions that this is anything of, everybody knows what we're doing here. And so that sort of her trying to like find her power of being like, I'm going to wear this and be like, yeah, what are you here for? I'm not hiding from whatever this is. Wearing this slinky outfit and then immediately being extremely vulnerable in that moment of like, okay, he has something else on his mind, and then he shares this news, and then how much of other internal power that is immediately given her. There's like this very interesting little roller coaster that she goes on through this scene of powerful, powerless, powerful, get out of my house. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, so good, because he's like, I can protect you. I can't believe you did this. And she's like, what are you talking about? I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And get out.
I have to mourn my husband. Please leave.
Yeah. And it goes from Shardan thinking this is the best possible thing that could happen to him realizing that the entire house of cards has just collapsed.
Yeah. Her being like, oh no, we have to figure out who did it. Mm-hmm. We have to run like a full investigation because you've been spending so much time here. You're probably going to have to get fully investigated to figure out the root of this issue. It's
so awesome. Just an incredible turn of events. Really cool. And then, of course, she, again, that metaphor of the dome that she has with the moon, all of it, like all layers.
Yeah. And even like cutting to her internal POV, like, oh my God, I can't believe he did it. Cutter is obsessed with me. I can't believe he did it. She's like in shock that he actually did it, but then like feeling free. But then her internally going, I killed him is like, there is this sort of obsession sort of laced through all these chapters as sort of like a theme with all these people, from the unnamed guard's obsession to solving this crime, to Chalice's obsession, to Crocus's obsessions. Like there's like a lot of different threads there that sort of tie together.
Yeah. Hannet, or the third of the trio of jerkwad bureaucrats, has his own schemes in place. He believes that Rallick-Nom has killed Gorlas, right? It's the only thing that makes sense, right? Rallick-Nom back to finish the job that he started 7 books ago. And so he's got some his own hired muscle, and he sends 2 people off to kill Cole, brings another 2 with him to the Phoenix Inn. He's going to kill all the folks that are there. Then we transition over to the Lady Verada's estate, where Torvald is feeling a bit of this impending crisis, feeling a little nervous. He goes up on the roof to calm his nerves.
I love the idea of being like, I'm feeling so uncomfortable, I'm gonna climb this wall. There's something about him being like, time to get up here, and being like, get kind of gassed once he gets to the top. There's like a bunch of like a funny choice that works out for him.
Yeah, he's kind of spying on Madrun and Lazan Door, who are still just all they do all day, roll dice. They're rolling the dice, playing the knuckles, and it looks kind of suspicious. And then he looks out, hears this rolling thunder, but there's no clouds in the sky, no wind, and no moon. No moon. All right, so Crocus, Cutter, he heads over to Spite's ship. He's looking for Solara. He has this kind of icky, weird, like, what lady do I need to be with next?
I can't go back to Chalice or what, like, him being like, I should find Solara. That's gross, right? That's gross. It's probably
gross,
fine.
But like, maybe she'll be cool with it.
Maybe she'll be cool with like the fact that I was like, yeah. I'm just gonna go in myself for one day, and then I'll definitely see you the next day. Introduce you to the gang, and he just abandoned her forever.
Totally ghosts her.
What a chump.
Yeah, but I think by this point, I mean, we're kind of giving him a little bit of short shrift. I think at this point, he's like, I really was a bad friend. You know, I think he's not exactly scheming again with her. It was more like I was a bad person to her, and I should be nicer. So I think he's got a little bit of remorse, but it is kind of funny. He's like, that one girl. Maybe I'll go back to that. Which other girl? Which of my girls should I call? Hey, girl, you up?
All my girls happen to be now in the same area code, and that's really the
awkward
trouble. When all the girls
2 dates on the same night. Anyway, he arrives on the ship. He sees that spear, that lance from the soldier of death, and sees beads of sweat on it, and realizes, he picks it up. It's hot and shaking, which is really wild. And he also hears the howls of the hounds off in the distance. Then we have this delightful scene. This is one of the reasons I love Malazan. This is one of the reasons, is because the way we get information sometimes is just so delightful. We get the purpose of the next scene is to tell us the Hounds of Shadow have arrived into town and they busted through the gate. But how do we get that information? How does Erikson deliver that information? He tells us a short story about this farmer guy who used to have it all, lost everything. Grisp Falant is his name, or Falant.
Yeah, had a family, had kids, big ambitions. Bought a bunch of land that turns out is completely uninhabitable, and every dime trying to make that land into something tillable, growable, something you can do something with. Every penny went down the drain, and so his kids got bored waiting for inheritance and left like this. And now
his kids don't like. I mean, he's a country western song, right? His wife left him. His kids don't like him. Even his dog don't like him very much.
His 2-legged dog. He used to hand feed him the rats the dog's supposed to be catching.
So funny, sitting on the porch, just
sipping a pee-pee.
unhappy, and then these giant demon dogs just bust through the door. I love there's a moment where he like falls back on his rocking chair and the hound's jaws snap where his head used to be. Oh,
So
awesome.
good.
So
So
awesome.
good.
And he sits up and he's like, well, time to move. Time to leave this town. So good. But like I said, all of that color, all of that flavor, all of that delicious, joyful narrative is really there just to tell us the hounds broke through the gate of Darujistan.
The puppies are coming.
The puppies are coming. And we check back in with Lady Spite. She is she's real ticked at her sister. Standing in front of her sister Envy's estate, she decides to, I don't know, create a giant ball of magma.
As one does. Who hasn't summoned a ball of magma when they feel a little bit spiteful?
You've had some rows with your sister. I'm sure it's very similar.
Absolutely. The number of times that she comes home, just bed ablaze.
Just drop a giant fireball on their house, you know?
And just like it does feel childish in a way to be like, I'm gonna get you, being packing together magic into a ball and being like, bleh. There's like something that feels immature about it. And then I think it's like, is it literally the very next scene we get the sister's POV?
Yeah, she comes out and she's like, what? And she's
I just love both of them. Spite is there, like, not even announcing herself, just going to spite her sister. And Envy is actually over there being like, ugh, she was always so much better at making magma balls than me. They're just like,
and she's also a little bit prettier than I am. And like, she's literally Envy and the other one's literally Spite. It's just beautiful.
So good. But then also a little fake out with the old V ladies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I love how they're like shooting balls of lava at the city that's literally built on explosive gas.
I know.
It's so rad.
Yeah, it was a sister's bickering knows no bounds.
That's right. And you're right. It is totally a fake out in the sense that in another context, this would be the climax of the book, right? This would be the two super powerful mage ladies are fighting in the center of the city. This would be the thing that's the city has to deal with right now.
Yeah, but we also, all through this book, we've returned, I'm like popping ahead a little bit. We've popped to a lady in her estate. Lady in her estate. And then it was like Lady Vorkin being or Lady, what's her name? Verada? Lady Verada in her estate. And then we're like, who's Verada? She's definitely not Verada. Who could she be? And then we pop to the lady in the estate and it's Lady Envy. And I'm like, same estate, same lady. Two estates, two ladies.
Two ladies, two high priestesses.
Yeah.
But then we literally go over to the Verada estate where all the assassins are now attacking.
And this is where I was like, aren't they in the magma? What's happening?
I definitely thought it was two distinct locations, but this sequence is really awesome too because you have, the Knucklehead Brigade of Scorch and Lef and Torvald, who later we literally get confirmation were only hired as like dumb decoys, basically scarecrows that could absorb some damage while while Vorkin actually does the work. But they turn out to be super competent at their jobs, which I thought was really a fun twist as well.
Well, was it that they were actually set up to be scarecrows, or they were like, you set us up because they were like being self-deprecating and they were like, you killed everyone. We hired you because you could do this job.
Oh, I took them as nailing it. Like, of course we hired the idiots because it was all to as a decoy, but maybe
either way.
So the assassins are attacking, gas explosions in the distance, crossbow bolts, knives, short swords, an awesome sequence. Then We cut to Torvald, who's on the roof. He's about to get killed. Boom, somebody headshot from a bolt across the way. He gets saved at the last second. Who could it be? His old cousin?
Hey, cousin. Here's one of the things I love about these like assassin combats is, man, the impact of a crossbow bolt is not a little thing to shy away from. You know,
No,
you
sir.
see like other medias and then somebody gets shot with a crossbow bolt and they're like, ugh. These people are like getting thrown back by it. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
shattering their head. It feels how a crossbow bolt would actually feel to get flipped by, and it feels great. Anyway, Rallick shows up and he's like, cousin, what in the heck? And he's like, I'm sorry. I didn't know. And he's like, we were like 6, man. What are you talking about?
So funny.
Oh,
I stole your girl. What?
He's like, and you're still together like 25 years later? I think it's love. I think I think she's yours, dude.
so beautiful. The part I skipped though that I shouldn't have is that he goes falling off the roof and lands on top of the blue Moranth munitions that explode and turn into a water ball.
Yeah.
Which is like awesome because they were blue and they were infused with magic. We'd heard like, well, these aren't just munitions. They're infused with magic. I've never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like water grenade.
A little mail bomb.
So rad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yes, I love that sequence where Rallick is like, I'm not mad at you, dude. I'm happy for you. I love you guys. You guys are the best.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. He's like, you're like my favorite couple to hang out with.
I was actually kind of sad that we stopped hanging out. All right. So then Lady Verada comes out. We get the big reveal that she is in fact Vorkin. And she, there's some discussion of like what happened. She comes over and asks Torvald, "What are you all right? Rallick, are you all right?" And Torvald, and then she leaves. And then Torvald is like, "So that worked out well. Does anybody want to go like into my office and like party and like just have a great night and toast the victory?" And Rallick's like, "Are you deaf, dude? The whole city they're screaming everywhere." And he's like, "Oh, sorry, I got a water in my ear from the water bomb."
Yeah, he's like, Oh, yeah, that is turmoil.
Yeah, it
That's
does sound bad.
turmoil.
It does. In retrospect, maybe we shouldn't just relax and have a drink. So good. So good. But there's also that moment where Rallick says, "Oh, man, that Vorkin, what's wrong with her?" And she's like, "She doesn't care about anybody." He's like, "What are you talking about? She asked about you. She came over and asked about you, dude. Are you dumb? She loves you."
Ooh, oh my God. She's got a crush. It's almost like you saved her life in that weird house over there and spent some years being unconscious next to each other.
You guys slept adjacent for a long time. All right, so back to Harllo. He fell for it. He did. I kept hoping, oh no, Harlow's going to be smart enough where he'll just kick rocks down onto. No,
He's
fell
too
for
wholesome. It. He's too wholesome.
Yeah,
he fell for it. He's running, and even internally, he's like, I know that he's a faster runner than me. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Little Harllo. And the way this is written, where he feels him grab his shirt and he pulls away for a second, then he grabs his shirt again and throws him down and hops on top of him, and then he's just like, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to strangle you. You are going to die."
And even in the chase, Vanaz has like this moment of being like, "Oh man, is it really possible for me to kill somebody?" Like,
yeah,
he's still just a kid. And then he goes through his grueling climb. He's like, "Oh no, he's dead." Like how quickly his resolve into his own evilness solidifies.
There's that horrible moment where he's on top of him and Harllo looks up and sees that the cut on his cheek had got some cave worms in it.
Oh, gross.
And he's like, "Yeah, that's good. They're going to get there. It's going to infect and it's going to grow and it's going to eventually pop. And he's going to have this scar on his face for the rest of his life."
Yeah. Harlow's like, "At least he'll be ugly forever."
I just thought that was this amazing moment because he's like getting strangled and he's just making this observation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
then,
somebody else knocks Vanaz off. And they start fighting this other boy who I immediately assumed was Belam Nam, but I don't know if that's actually going to turn out to be the truth.
no, I think Belam Nam would have just sliced Vanaz.
Yeah.
I feel like that Vanaz would have no chance against Belam Nam. I don't know if I ever got a definitive answer for who the other boy was.
We have not. That's what I'm saying. I think in the next chapters, we're going to come back to this and find out who that is. And maybe a surprise. I'm very curious who this other boy is. I thought in that moment, the person that was going to save him was our magic legs, Jagat.
I thought so too.
Not the case.
I also thought maybe Cutter would be like on the way back and be like, "Hey, what's the scuffle going on there?"
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of like other little boys that we know, and the only one I can think of is Grub, and it's not Grub.
Grub. Yeah. Can't be Snell, right?
Snell suddenly being like, "There now, there's a." Oh, wait, no, yeah,
I know,
it would
right?
never be
I don't
Snell.
know.
I don't know.
Very interesting. I'm very curious about that.
I feel like I should know. I don't know.
But Harllo has to actually be the one to strike Vanaz down, because through all this, even though this other boy has kind of saved him for the moment, it looks like Vanaz is winning that fight as well. He breaks this other boy's arm.
Yeah.
Snaps the arm, and so Harllo has to pick up a rock and smash Vanaz's skull. Yeah. And it's, man, what a gruesome fate, because he like stands up and he's got this crazy smile on his face, and he's clearly like glitching out because his brain is
just got smashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he falls in the ditch.
That's the other thing is like, even thinking about this scene and like trying to, every other child we know is like a child soldier and would not have had their arm broken. I think that's the thing that makes me be like, I don't know who.
Well, and it's definitely not Snell, because Harllo asks who he is. He says, "Who are you?" That's how the scene ends, is "Who are you?" So it's somebody that Harllo doesn't know. Yeah. So it's like not another kid in the camp, or maybe it is another kid in the camp he doesn't know. I don't know. I'm very curious.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we have this another like darkly comedic sequence, at least to my mind, where Hannet has taken his dudes. He's going to the Phoenix Inn. He's standing in the alley. He sends his guys in there. He's waiting like, I'm gonna kill somebody.
He's a plan that seems like it would work. He's like, send two dudes in there to be really obvious, and when they fly out the back door, I'm gonna get him.
But the lesson to take away here is always be courteous and polite. So you never know who you're gonna brush past in an alley. And he's a little too rough. He bumps into somebody who turns out to be Gaz, looking for a person to pummel. And
pummel
Gaz
he do.
Is all too obliged to have that minor discourteous moment turn into yo death.
And too abrupt of a death. It was like literally a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Knock this guy senseless. Kill him in the street, and then Gaz being like, "Oh no, that dude matters to society."
Yeah, it's so funny. I was like, "Oh, Thorny, I done did it this time."
Her name being Thorny, he'd be like, "Oh, Thorny."
Amazing. And inside, Hannet's thug is not having any better luck, because Cole can fight. Cole's got this thug bent over the counter, bent backwards. He admits that Hannet's out in the alley, and they think it's Ralik Nam who's killed Gorlas, and he says, "We're after him, the guy with the 2 knives." And so Cole and Meese are like, "Okay, we're gonna go deal with Hannet, who's out in the alley." And they come back in, they're like, "I have very surprising news."
I love just like the fear of these other, assassiny chumps being like, he's bent in this uncomfortable position over the bar, and he's like, "I'm gonna let go of you, but you're gonna keep yourself in this position." And the guy's like,
yeah, so good.
Yeah. They go out and come back in, they're like, "I guess we gotta get get the cops because this guy we wanted dead is dead, but we didn't do it. So we have to make it clear we didn't.
Krupp is like, hey, Salty, can you go get the town guard? And she's like, do you hear what is happening out there? You know what, though? On second thought, I'd rather be taking my life in my hands in the chaos outside than be in here with you, Krupp.
Yeah.
So, yes, I will go get the town guard. It's so great. It's like literal giant howls of death are outside, but that's preferable to being in here with you, buddy.
Yeah, it feels like there's some tolling probably happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So the guard who has our unnamed guard wanders up, and Salty's like, hey man, come over here. Look, this guy was killed right here. And the guard is like, oh, this does look like it, but he doesn't usually kill people of this stature.
Mm-hmm.
And Krupp is like, you notice how he was killed, right? It was fingerless knuckles. And the guard is like, I know a guy with fingerless hands. Yeah.
There's something about Darugistan and like the masses that it's like, man, I would think that it wouldn't narrow it down to one person so quickly.
It does seem like this kind of life, maybe there's a few fingerless people in the walking around,
No.
you know?
But there's one who's a real jerk. Everybody knows.
That's
And
true.
so does the unnamed guard.
Said real jerk arrives home to his wife, and he's like, we got to get out of here. And she's like, oh yeah, you got to get out of here. Slice.
Got him.
Cuts his throat. I was like, whoa. Calls him a good soldier for collecting so many souls. I was like, oh, she was involved all the whole time.
So I mean, we had somebody appear to Gaz in that alleyway that one time being like, you're doing great. He's like, I'm not doing anything. He's like, no, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Was that one of the people in the army? Was that Hood just being a chill dude? Hood seems like he can't like chill out.
Right.
So I don't know if it was actually him, but we knew that he was doing something for someone. Was that just Thordy putting on a robe and being like, you're doing great for the Lord? Or like whatever.
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah.
But she's like, the soul harvest you've been doing has been just excellent, sweetie. And now your time is done.
Yeah. And he collapses in this circle of stones, bleeds into the center of it. And then that's all I guess she needed for the summoning to take place. And all of a sudden, whoa, friggin' Lord of Death, High King of the House of the Slain, Embracer of the Fallen, Mr. Hood himself shows up. What a friggin' awesome moment.
Physically manifest. He's there, but he is not less powerful. He is just available.
He's just here now on this plane.
Woo!
Wearing rotted robes of green, black, and brown, and he's got tusks.
Yeah,
and I immediately went, well, he's a Jagged.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I don't know. Have we ever heard him described as having tusks before? I don't recall that.
I was trying to think of another situation where we might have heard it. I think they only ever describe his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bony hands.
So this unnamed guard knows that it's Gaz, knows he's the only fingerless dude around, and rushes to the house. As he's arriving, Hood literally manifests inside the house, and he's been feeling these chest pains, this stress, this intense amount of physical strain on his body, and he collapses to the ground, dying because literal death has manifested mere feet from where he's standing.
Mm-hmm. This incredible pressure, this pain on his head. He's thinking about his family. He's thinking about this obsession that he's had in solving this problem. And, the perspective, we sort of, it dips out of the guard's perspective and sort of into general description of this guy's actually, though, a good guy. He actually has been good to his family. He actually has been trying to do his duty. He actually has been trying to protect people. And Hood sees that and recognizes that, and for once is like, I don't want this one to die. I want this guy to just be able to live. And he releases him of that pain, pulls the death away from his body, and just continues to retreat. And the unnamed guard lives another day.
It's just so awesome. I mean,
Awesome.
in a book full of shades of gray, or in a book series full of shades of gray, where everybody you root for has flaws, has, there's moments where you are advocating for both sides. Everybody, it's this complicated interlocking weave of contradicting pursuits and motivations, and it's just all complicated, and everybody has done something bad. We have the one guy who doesn't get a name, who is just decent, just good, humble, honest.
And the god of death who sees everything, everyone coming through the gates. The worst, the best, like seeing the whole spectrum of what people can be, is like, this one deserves to just be here still.
Good person. I just thought that was gorgeous. Just a beautiful, the unnamed guard. Incredible. And the guard stands back up and starts weeping, and Hood walks away. And then the guard walks into the house, and Thordy is there. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're here. You're not going to believe my husband is the worst."
He walked in, confessed everything. Out of self-defense, I had to slit his throat immediately. Anyway, there he is.
Did you think that the knife cut that she does to herself in that previous scene was to add credence to this story? Or I thought for a moment that she did that because when Hood arrives, everybody starts dying. But if she's already dying, she's sort of like protected against that.
I will say that I don't remember her actually taking the knife to her wrist. It said that she held up her wrist and a knife, and then the scene cut.
Oh,
and
maybe she didn't actually cut herself.
So I don't know. Maybe there is like an initial drop of blood that she had to give or something. But I don't know if it actually said that she cut her wrist actually. But I think that would be a good assumption. And maybe it didn't. I just misread, as I often do. But
so good, this scene though, because this little moment, because she's like, "My husband, he's horrible. He's a serial killer, and I killed him out of self-defense. It's so tragic, but also I heard there's a reward."
I heard, and the guard's like, "I'm a good guy, so yeah,
you did it.
There is. Here you go, lady."
So funny. "Oh, it's the worst. It's the most horrible thing. I'll never recover for it, but maybe money can help." Okay. Then we get to just my favorite sequence. Because Lana, how do you express the gravity of the god of death walking down the street? How can you impress upon the reader the power of that moment, the momentous occasion that is the literal god of death strolling through the city?
You got to tell it everywhere else.
It's brilliant. It's so friggin' good.
Death happening, different ways, different motivations behind each one a complete story that doesn't feel like it is necessarily tied to the fact that he's here now, but we know it intrinsically is. How different those moments might be if he were not strutting down the street at this very moment.
And it's not that people just keel over.
Yeah.
That's not how death works. It's not just a series of people just expiring because death walked by them. It literally is these twists of fate that are how people die, but they just all happened right now because death is here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good people, bad people, doesn't matter. We get Skilla's neighbor.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Death that feels like a good thing for the people who still are alive. Death that feels like a bad thing for the people who are still alive. It just is like every flavor.
I was blown away by the sequence. It expresses the. It's kind of what I was talking about with our friend the farmer who literally the scene is there to tell you that the hounds got through the gate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we get all this delicious flavor, and that's what happens here. What is being expressed is the magnitude of death's arrival on the mortal plane, and we get it, but we also get all of this richness, all of this investment in and tapestry of Darujistan itself, and all the peeking through the windows of all these little places as this is happening. It's masterful. It's masterful. I love it.
And like each different scene, like reading one, I'm like on the verge of tears, and reading the next, it's just like, I can't believe how many different emotions. Same concept, yes. A scene where somebody dies.
And there's an economy to them because none of them are very long. The way he's able to infuse so much richness into so little information, really, it's so, there's like little dagger shots, little just boom, 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 boom. You don't lose that momentum because he's not veering into these stories over long. Mm-hmm. So we're not losing the momentum of death and of Hood arriving, of what really the story is about. We're not veering off too long, too far to lose the thread. We're getting this snowball rolling down a hill. Ah, man. So I'll just summarize them real quick, and you can speak to any of them that you'd like. Skill's neighbor, who on his way to kill his own family, and a hound steps in front of them. These two hounds are fighting. And then he comes home to find his wife packing her things to escape with the kids, and gets knifed. We get Cans, a 9-year-old boy who just running through the house teasing his sister, falls over the railing and dies. We get Benuk Phil. Now, again, all these characters get named, right? Mm-hmm. Unnamed guard does not.
Yeah.
That is, I think, important. Benuk Phil, this beautiful human being who loved his mom so much, had this beautiful relationship with his mom. She's dying of cancer. Oops, actually, no, she died days ago. He can't come to admit it. He's kind of lost his grip on reality because of his grief. Mm-hmm. Hood's hand brushes his brow and releases his mother's soul that was trapped in the room.
Mm-hmm. The death of even that period of mourning in that
yes.
case. It's like
yes.
it's its own little death.
And I'm so moved by what Mr. Erikson wrote in our on our YouTube comments this last week about his writing this novel, and specifically chapter 19 in the wake of his own grief. To think that he wrote that scene,
I know,
makes me emotional. Obviously, we have Avad Tenet, this pedophile who dies by autoerotic asphyxiation. So here we have this incredibly beautiful scene, and then right away Erikson's like, no, don't linger there. I'm going to show you something gross and vile, and
with a touch of like comedy to that death. Like,
that's right.
It's just pulling you around.
We're not going to linger in the sentimentality. We're not going to get saccharine. It's so expertly done.
And like how poetic it is to have that scene be the death of that grief, that moving on, and pull you into this other one that's like, yeah, this one was silly now. It like forces you through that emotion in the same way that you see it in that scene. Yeah.
My favorite one, though, is the last one. Fat Suborgan, who's dancing with the white-haired empress.
Yes.
Just because she was cursed by a witch to kill cockroaches in this house for all eternity. And the curse has waned a bit, so she gets a little more freedom to improvise. And so the way she's going to do it to entertain herself is to get this dude to dance around and stomp his feet
She's
to
like,
kill the
"Oh,
cockroaches.
those are scrunching feet. Oh, those that's a bod made for stomping." And even just the like the relationship of it, like first revealed by the downstairs neighbor being like, "Upstairs neighbor things, what are you doing?"
Oh, the pounding. It's literally, he's been, there's a literal spirit demon that's cursed him to kill cockroaches. It's just so brilliant.
It's so silly. Ugh.
And then of course, the floor collapses. He kills that lady who was pounding on the ceiling. And that actually frees the demon, who actually gets a happy ending to the story of being cursed to kill cockroaches for all eternity.
To kill cockroaches for all eternity in that one room. Yeah.
How does he come up with this stuff? It's so good. So good. All right. That sequence is just like marvelous. After that, we get back to Sebrefar, who returns to his office like, well, that was a bad day. Literally lost the entire Assassin's Guild.
And he's like, nah, lost everything. But doesn't that mean I get a fresh start?
Yes.
All about that positive mental attitude.
Yeah. But of course, Blend is there in the doorway saying, hey, who hired you? Who hired you to kill all the bridge burners? And Sebra has this moment of like, I bet I could take her.
Yeah.
Well, she's like, she's got his crossbow like laying on the ground. There's no way she can grab it fast enough. I got 2 daggers.
Mm-hmm.
Slicey slice. All I got to do is run. I don't want to kill her, but you know what? Easy peasy. No, they don't call her Blend for nothing. Because, of course, as he moves toward her, she wasn't quite there. He doesn't understand how she could not have been
fast.
where she was.
Yeah.
Cracks him in the nose with her elbow, stabs him in his liver. And then she says, hey, I got this vial of antidote that can heal your liver. All you got to do is tell me a name. He tells her a name. So, Blend knows it's humble measure. I think we're going to see how that plays out.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, indeed. All right. So Death is walking down the street, literally walking down the street. And guess who also shows up?
He's not just hiding in the forest. He kept walking, baby.
Son of Darkness is here, baby.
Son of Darkness is here, and he's like, I think some people, I mean, clearly this city is already messed up. I think some people got to know what this blade's really about. They got to see a little bit of what I'm working with here. And so he just allows the power of this blade, the chains, to be seen, to be rolling over the city. This
Incredible.
vision that he's walking forward, but the chains visually are all, extending unto eternity, pulled tight. So the idea that it looks like he's pulling these chains, but still walking probably effortlessly visually through the city is such a cool,
incredible
visual of strength and power.
Just baller. I also love how this coyote walks up to him and he's like, hey, little coyote, you're cool. You can go about your way. And then, because we have Krupp as the narrator, Krupp is like, yeah, and that's the last we'll ever hear of this coyote in the story. Like, don't blame me. This coyote goes off and has a great life. It's cool. Like the coyote's cool, man. He just showed up for this one moment. I just wanted to tell you because like he's involved in our story for just this one moment. But then he goes, it's cool. You don't need to hear about him anymore. That's awesome. This moment is rad. Krupp also says literally anyone that is magically attuned in the city is like freaking out because Unnamed Rake is here
and doing this thing.
Yeah, which I'm sure is also because of Hood is there. Even envy and spite stop their crazy magma war. And like, what's happening? Rake is walking through Drujastan, 4 streets away. Hood sees him. They both keep walking. Hundreds of these great ravens are flying over, and I love how he says something like they perch to watch and maybe feed.
Yeah.
Such a cool line.
And this scene fully plays out, right? That we don't go pop away to anywhere else.
That's right.
Walking together and just knowing these two massive forces coming together with such intentionality. You know, they're both there. You know, they have like awareness of each other. And it's like, what are they about to make some grand plans? It's like, are they coming together? Is this a meeting of the minds? And just how abruptly Rake walks in to this space that they're occupying together. Hood says, I've reconsidered. And before he could even finish the sentence that we don't know what it's about, we don't know what he's saying, he's beheaded by Rake with Dragnapur.
Yeah.
Which we know has consequences in this other realm. It's just like, reconsider what?
I know.
The description of the scene, Hood falling to his knees, his head fallen away through the robes, the power of his soul being sucked into Dragnapur, Animander Rake as a mirror leaning on the blade with the chains hitting the ground, being brought to his knees despite the weight he's clearly been carrying this whole time. Yeah. Mirrors of each other, one headless, one leaning against this blade for power. It's that shot in my mind is like my favorite visual from the book so far. Oh my God.
The setup that we had chapters and chapters ago of Endest, I believe, or Spinock, one of the two.
Yeah.
Commenting on how no one could hold that sword except Animander, and he puts it on his back like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And that being the setup for this moment of Hood being in the sword does bring him to his knees. Like all of it contributing to this notion of how big a deal this is, how big a deal Hood is. Like, I kept thinking about, where was it? What's the place that, I can't think of the name of the city that we had an entire book set in where people couldn't die because they closed the gate.
Oh,
was it Letharus?
Where they couldn't die because they closed the gates. No.
Remember, there was death basically was closed off. So you had all these spirits that were hanging around. It was in Midnight Tides, right? It's
Midnight Tides or Memories of Ice.
Anyway, you know what I'm talking
about. Yeah.
But I was like, well, what happens when you kill death? Now what?
The gates were already, like, we found out the gates were closed in this book. They were like, the gates are gone. There are no gates at all. And so death is already wandering, building up this army. When you kill death, is everybody immortal or is everybody doomed? Or everybody just dies and becomes dirt? Like, the idea of the afterlife disappear. Like, dude, I have so many questions.
So many questions. You're so right to point out, like, hey, I'm having second thought. Like, that one moment is just, it so elevates the entire sequence to just be like, what are we doing?
Why? Don't you guys usually talk? I thought you weren't killing people with that thing anymore. Oh my God.
Incredible. People had said all week long in the Discord, hold on to your butts. I don't think I held on to my butts sufficiently.
I didn't hold on to my butts tight enough at all.
An incredible sequence. Okay, we're already running so long.
Yeah.
We got to get to chapter 20. That's how chapter 21 ends.
I am good, by the way, on time.
Okay, good. Excellent. Good to hear that. All right. Chapter 22. Karsa and Samar They are on their way to Drujistan. They're pausing on a hill. They can see the blue flames, the chaos that's happening in Drujistan. Samar's like, that seems bad.
And they can feel there's like already the weight, the magic sensitive Samar.
Yeah.
I guess Karsa's the one who's not magic sensitive because he's anti-magic man. But they can feel this pressure. And Traveler's basically lost his mind in the approach to Drujistan.
Yeah, he's like mumbling and saying nonsensical things. As you said, Samar is like has this intense pain in her head, and she's like, "Can't you feel it, Karsa?" And he's like, "Feel what, babe?"
The horse, yeah, he's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
she's like, the horse can feel it.
And then the bear is behind them, kind of keeping its distance, walking by, and Karsa's like, "Hey, we were talking about." He's like, "I'm gonna. Don't worry, I'm gonna guard Traveler's back no matter what." She's like, "I think that's a bad idea. I don't think he wants you to guard his back." And he's like, "Hey, speaking of guarding our backs, I think the bear. That's why the bear's here."
I do like sort of every time we pop to Samar, and she's like, "My head, oh my god." Karsa's like, "You got this, babe." And then she's like, "Ugh," and the bear's just like, she's like, just a breath on her back, and she's like, "Okay, all right, bear's here, let's go."
She's like, "What does it want from me?" And he's like, "I think it's protecting you, babe." And she's like, what are you talking about? He's terrifying. Then we check in with. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a couple scenes. There's like a bunch in a row, but they're kind of separated by bits.
Yeah.
So I'll separate my commentary as well.
We have a moment with Callor, who's thinking about his life and the things that he's done and why humanity and always makes mistakes, basically, and why people call him a monster.
Why he's a bad boy?
Yeah, I'm not so bad just because I do what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
It's because compassion is not a replacement for stupidity. Love that.
Mm.
All right, so then there is this crossroads where it has 4 torches set up at this crossroads. Callor walks up. He sees.
Well, I love that he's like, "That's a weird place for some torches."
Yeah.
Anyway, investigation.
Anyway, there's a dude sitting here. Oh, I know that guy.
Oh no, brother,
not that guy.
Come on.
Spinok Durov is like, "Callor, buddy, let's just. I set up a sweet little table over there with some spiced wine and a campsite. Let's just go hang. It'll be like old times. We'll get wasted. We'll hang out. We'll let all this craziness pass.
And then you go that way.
No problems. No need to fight." And Callor's like, "I'm not doing that. You're gonna make me kill you, aren't you?" He's like, "But we could do this like totally nice guys style."
Both of them are like, "No, come on, just get the one. No, man, I don't want to. No." And like Callor in this moment of even be like all like his respect of him like clearly being like, "I have to do this. I really, really, really don't want to, man."
Yeah,
I
like you. In fact, I don't even have a problem with unnamed Rake. In fact, I didn't even want to kill Whiskey Jack.
He's like, "I wasn't going for Whiskey Jack. I was going for Silver Fox, and I don't regret trying to kill her."
We all should have killed her. You guys are going to find out that was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
That we didn't kill her. Which made me excited because it's like, oh, Silver Fox is not out of our narrative yet. She has a role to play, I think, coming up. She's been off camera for quite a while, but I think
with the dead god kind of rolling in the wings, it all seems.
Yes, right. You're right. With
related.
Bellerdan and all that like book 1, book 2 stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I love this whole sequence where it's just like, let's be buddies. I love you. Dude, I love you, but we're gonna kill each other. It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Very funny.
And it's also both of them, Callor being like, "I'm gonna kill you," and Spinock being like, "You have to kill me to get through that." Like he's not under any illusions that he's gonna survive this fight.
Right. Yeah.
Which is so interesting because Callor's like the old guy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can't be stopped.
Yeah.
He can't be stopped. He says this awesome line about how like the High King fails but never falls, which I thought was a really cool way to say it. And the other part that's funny is he's like, don't you think that Animander's the jerk for like asking you to do this? Like this is, you're coming here knowing you're going to fail. I'm going to kill you. And it's because he asked you to say no, dude. Just don't do it.
He's like, that's what I do. You think I'm going to give my life for anything other than myself? I'm not even going to give my life at all, ever.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. All right, so we head back over to the Nemander crew. Clip is like, hey, you know what I can do? I can use this black water right here that we happen to find, and I can make a portal to the actual black water in black coral. And hey, how great is that?
I finally have all the power that I need to do my portaling.
Yeah. And everybody's like, yeah, cool, man. Yeah, everything. Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, we're behind you 100%. We're behind.
You're so good at portals. You're so
Nemander, you're gonna get him, right? You're gonna get him.
Yeah.
And so Nemander is like, I can't say. The problem is, I can't say out loud the plan because he's been hanging around with us so closely. Like he's always walking ahead, and we can totally talk behind his back, but not now. It sucks. So now I have to just sort of do it and hope everybody picks up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, and he can't express to people, hey, don't go through that portal.
Yeah.
Like, we're right behind you. We're not.
Yeah. But everybody knows it's opposite day, right? I'm not saying everybody knows I don't mean that we're right behind you. Yeah. But of course, Nananda doesn't know. She runs in first. He's like, oh, you didn't get the Ixnay on the.
You couldn't wait 1 second. He was in the portal. We could have talked now.
So she runs in. Nemander chases in after her. Of course, she's already been stabbed by the time he gets in there. And he is trapped in a world of darkness where Fade starts speaking to him. He's like, I really am so sorry for throwing you out a window.
Yeah.
It's really been gnawing on my mind about that whole throwing you out a window thing.
She's like, that's fine. Think about your daddy.
She's like, stop being pathetic.
She's like, I was being bad. Some people got to throw people out windows.
Yeah.
Some people got to be thrown out a window.
Yeah. And then she says something really interesting, which is use the dragon blood in your veins.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what's that mean? Does that mean that he's going to soul taken shift into a dragon?
And get vinyl?
I don't know. It hasn't happened, right? Instead, he finds Aranatha or Arath.
So she's like the dragon blood. It's like you're in this place of this void of darkness. And she's like, but the dragon blood will glow through all of this and you'll be able to find each other. Aranatha, I think, is just naturally good at that, has already like embraced that kind of ability. She has some kind of heightened senses. She's been the one who's been like their sort of magical protector throughout some of the wacky stuff that they've encountered on their journeys. Yeah. But this is also the place that I don't know if Nemander, I think we knew that already that he was Rake's kid. But
they're all Rake's kids.
Yeah, they're all Rake's kids.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we knew like he was supposed to pretend that the other guy, Endest, was his dad instead. There's like some amount of like, Endest was like, you're my kids, really? And they're like, I don't know if that's true. And they're like, anyway, dragon time. And I wasn't sure if that was like new information or it was just like something to get Nemander riled up to start thinking in a dragon-y way or whatever.
Well, Aranatha looks at him with eyes of love, which is kind of what he needs. He's a little sensitive, that Nemander. But then we cut away before anything happens, and we're back to Salind and the Redeemer and Seir Domen. She's just gyrating still, doing her thing, creating multiple hands of weapons. And Monkrat. So I love how we're like inside her psychosis, inside this world where she and the Redeemer and Seir Domen kind of see mystically. But then we like cut outside and see what's really happening, where she's just like lying on the floor, drooling black goop out of her mouth, you know? Uh-huh. And Monkrat is watching her in Gradathan's tent and being like, this jerk has already violated her.
Yeah.
This is awful. They're just forcing her to drink more of this Kellic crap. And so he walks out of there and Spindle walks up with his hair shirt and delivers like the most stirring, awesome, motivational speech.
Yeah. Basically
Just
being
incredible.
like, oh, you were like, yeah. That whole scene, I thought the part that I thought was interesting, I'm like, Monkrat, you just like went back in there just to witness and be like, oh yeah, this is still bad. I was part
Still
of
bad.
that. I was part of that, but this definitely feels bad still. Like
Yeah.
the fact that he was there, I thought was like weird, like dreamy. Because I know him and Spindle were already like, we can't let this go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Spindle's like, hey, there's a bunch of kids too. We got to save the kids. Let's go save the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he gives this amazing speech where he's quoting, is he quoting Dasim Ultor?
Yeah.
Which is Traveler.
That's my assumption. Yeah.
So that's pretty big deal. And the quote is awesome. It's, basically talking about what a soldier's duty is and how you have to defend honor and integrity and justice. And so Monkrak's like, all right, let's do this. Meanwhile, inside the Great Barrow, Itkovian is still, having a hard time of it. Seir Domen is like, what is happening?
Like he looks back at him. He's like, you're so sad.
Yeah.
I'm protecting you, but you're so sad.
Yeah. He has this moment where he's like, he wants to die. This thing wants to kill him. Like, what am I even doing here?
Yeah.
Why stand between these two morons?
And then Itkovian is like, who could I help? And he's like, oh, you're so sensitive. You're so nice. I have
What are you saying? You're better than me because you want to help everyone?
I'll help you. I'll help you. What does that make me? Even a helper of the helper.
Yeah, he's like, what if I help the dying god? He's like, no, dude, it wants to die. You can't help everybody.
But then him even in Itkovian's position of like extreme sadness and emotional burden that he feels on the weight that he's taken on throughout the life that he had, him still feeling that way is like, well, if this guy can keep feeling this, I gotta do what I can, I guess. This one thing.
Well, also Itkovian is basically like, hey, Seir Domen, you remember your best buddy, your friend, the guy you love playing D&D with on the weekends? You remember him? Guess who he loves? That crazy bitch.
Look, and do you want to hurt your friend's feelings?
Yeah.
This woman, the only one you love,
her. Don't do it for me. I'm nobody. Save her for your friend who loves her. He's like, ugh.
And meanwhile, she's growing more arms that are spinning off Kellic and sharp blades. And he's like, dude, why you gotta go for ones like this, man? Why is this your type?
He always likes the multi-armed Kellic ladies.
So lethal.
That image, though, of her standing in this like goopy black, sickly, oozy rain, spinning her arms around with weapons all in. It's such a powerful image in my head.
Yeah,
I like it. Like you said, like whirling off these droplets of goop.
Even the idea of like her sitting there growing other arms, I picture it almost like silhouetted, more like limbo. So you see just like the arms without like, there's not like super explicit details about it, but the wet and the sharp and the multi-limbedness of it.
Yeah.
Freaky deaky.
Freaky deaky indeed. Speaking of freaky deaky, Picker is still falling endlessly through some sort of hellish dreamscape. But she realizes mid-fall that, hey, all I got to do is Mary Poppins this situation and just right myself, and then I can fall gently to the ground.
Just seeming like she's getting more control over her uncontrollable ghost wandering.
Mm-hmm. So she lands in this strange place that's got snail shells and bones and gourds half full of blood. And what does she see on the wall? A painting of a wagon surrounded by figures.
Interesting. Interesting.
Now, my question to you is, I immediately went, oh, that's our Dragnapur wagon. But
it's the TTG.
That's right. There's another wagon. Okay, so that's what you went to immediately.
Yeah. Because there's like the figure surrounded by, specifically the way it described that the death or undead were like trying to get to the wagon, and I was like, people seem like resentful of the wagon in Dragnapur. So that
Gruntle and that crew and Mappo and all those, they've been off camera a little bit too. And I feel like, they've got a big role to play in the convergence here at the end. I can't wait to see how they're involved. All right. So then we have another moment of Endest wrestling with all his thoughts, talking about how mortals are cursed to repeat the same path and betray every gift. Basically, kind of thinking about the Tistendi and Mother Dark and all that stuff. And at the end of it, looks up and sees Solana, the dragon lady. The waiting is almost over for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been this like sort of Damocles hanging over the city the entire novel. And I feel like she's about to enter the fray as well. All right. So back to Samar and Karsa and Traveler. Traveler is really not in a good place. She's like, this guy's, I don't know what's going on with him. They arrive at the South Gate, the one that was destroyed by the Hounds. Samar's still having a massive problem in her head because of all the magic chaos.
Yeah, it's debilitating. And is this the scene where Karsa's like, girl, you are a magical being and you got to be stronger than this. You put up some walls in your brain. Do it now. Yeah. We are going forward. You are coming with me.
He literally slaps her.
Yeah. And it works. She just snapped out of it long enough to like put some walls up in her brain. Karsa on one side, this god of war bear protector at her back, sort of is enough shielding. Even Karsa, I think, standing between her and the city is literally that magical Ototral shield.
So cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Then even like the power of this moment, him being like, we're going to keep going. Are you ready to keep going? And like, this is the moment that they finally hold hands.
They hold hands and the moon shatters.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, woo! Did the moon shatter? The moon like rises. And as it rises, everybody's like, oh, it's in bits. I'm like, somebody did something. Is it the power of what happened between Rake and Hood shattered it? Did somebody off screen pull it down to use it and shatter it? And now it's like, oh, get that thing back up there. Like, I can't tell if the relationship between like what's happening in Dujasan now caused that to happen, or if there's something else happening that's shattering it.
Well, the only connection that I'm making at this point is that Rake's house is literally called Moonspawn.
Yeah.
So I feel like a shard of the moon. I don't know. I don't know what caused the moon to shatter. I think we're going to find out, but an incredible image.
Yes.
That's for sure.
And especially because the shattered moon, now that it's in a bunch of bits, it's a reflection of sunlight. And so now that there's more bits spread out of the sky, it's even brighter than it was when it was all together.
Brighter. Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, sick.
Cool.
And then Chilbeus, the little demony dude, is watching all of this and freaking out.
Oh, that's an altar.
Yes. It's like, I've been told to stand here and wait and watch for that guy who's here right now. Dasim Ultor, the traveler, walking back into Darujistan. Chilbeus is like, I got to get back to Baruch and tell him.
He's like, to a fray of people who like mess him up, and then he is like finally gets his wings working, a little bit more scuffed up, being like, there's this violence down there, and flies away.
It's so good.
Love the clumsy exit. Big news. Really, really bad delivery.
Yeah. So Samar and Karsa and Traveler are walking through the city. People are freaking out, screaming, running away from them. A hound shows up with like a body in its mouth that it's crunching on. And Cotillion is walking right behind the hound. Samar and Karsa are like, whoa, because Cotillion and Traveler meet in the center of this street. And Samar's like, I gotta go hear this conversation. And Karsa's like, babe, let him
talk. A little privacy, please, babe.
Come on, babe. That's my bro up there. He's doing bro stuff. Come on. She's like,
she's like, you don't want to hear this? He's like, it's not that I don't want to hear. I want to hear, but it's not for us.
It's so good because he's like, why do you want to hear it? And she's like, I'm nosy. What? You don't want to hear it? We gotta know what they're talking about. We walked the whole way for this moment to happen. But it seems like a pretty intense convo because Cotillion's like crying afterwards. Traveler doesn't want to do something. Intense.
Mysterious and intense.
Indeed. Awesome. Keeping it away from the reader is pretty fun too. Cause I was like, I'm right there with you, Sam. I was like, I want to hear what they're saying. All right. So then the real stuff that I've been waiting for, which is like, what's going on inside Dragnapur right now? Back to Dragnapur. Everything is going crazy.
Chaos is practically upon the wagon.
Yeah, that's right.
Draconis is like, man, if that guy didn't mess up that tattoo, bro.
Yeah, you had one job, Cataspala. One job. Tattoo a godling, and you screwed it up.
Yeah. Tattoo a protective ward is what he wanted. And instead he tattooed a godling.
That's right.
And then he's hanging out, and Draconis is just kind of like, honestly, Animander, pretty baller. He definitely deserved to hold this
you know what?
sword.
I made the sword, but it was his all along. Yeah.
But also,
cool.
I kind of like made him, so you always want your kids to be better than you were. And then he's like hanging out with the demon Pearl, who was the demon that was released and then captured and then used and then killed, and seeing just this demon trying to like pick up fallen comrades of the wagon and being like, that's too much. You were so used and you're still just being like a good guy, little demon guy.
Yeah. I love how repeatedly in this series we've seen the demons be like genuinely nice people.
Yeah.
It's like they're demons. Sure, they're demons. You can summon them, but they have feelings too.
Capable of great violence and great sentimentality. They just want to be
man,
farmers.
It's right.
Yeah.
And Pearl is like, yeah, Tashran summoned me that first time, Quick Ben the second time, all just to die. But you know what? I ain't mad at him. That's all right. It was actually kind of nice being here. And really, the saddest thing about Dragnapur being under assault like this is that we can't all come together and be friends. Because down here in actual hell, we all sort of had a common purpose, right? And even though we were enemies in the real world, down here we all pulled the chains together.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so funny.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a real utopia here in hell.
And then we cut over to Absalara first? That's
right.
Yeah. Absalara looking at the hole under the wagon. She's slithered along what I assume is like the axle or whatever.
Yeah.
That connects the front of the wagon and the back wagon. Some slippery beam covered in grossness. And is like, I'm going to die. I might as well try to die falling into this hole in case I can get out of here. And all of her thoughts about her body freezing, her breath turning to ice, and then realizing like, oh, what if I took all the chains that I have and threw those into the hole? Maybe they'll break. And then I don't know what I'll do after that. I've got a plan.
Step 1, chain. Step 2, yada, yada, yada. Step 3, freedom.
Here, but still not wagon chained. So pretty good.
Yeah. So cool. Such a cool thing.
Uh-huh.
Can't wait to see how she plays into it. The literal goddess of thieves. So then we have Hood showing up in Dragnapur.
Being like,
and he just like puts his hand on Draconis, is like, hey, bro. Hood in the house.
Yeah, and, reunited.
He's like, guess what? I brought my armies of the dead. Riders on skeletal mounts, all these crazy, just like thousands and thousands of the dead.
Well, first Draconis is horrified, and he's like, my kid, honestly, not so bad. He killed the god of death. What is he doing? This is the worst case scenario. This is horrible. And Hood's like, it's a gamble. And I'm like, okay, they've talked about this. They've made some plan here.
The idea being like, I'm going to send you into direct. The only person that could fight the hordes of chaos are the hordes of death.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you in, and you're going to take your army of the dead and fight against the chaos, right? That's the idea?
That's
which
as far
is
as I can
so
tell.
badass.
I love this. And him being like, what are you, what? And he's like, but check out all these armies. I don't know how all the armies got in there. I guess they're just people who decayed out the wagon, or like how his armies just get to come with him in whatever realm he's at. But he's there, and he's like, yo, Draconis, this is going to be the right call. Have a little faith. And he like stops everybody. He's like, everybody chill out. Armies, he's like starts directing armies like he's a military general. And Draconis is like, this is insane. This is insane. All these souls even have already died. The only thing that they have is their identities as like a soul, as a spirit. And you're going to ask them to sacrifice even that to be nothing?
Fodder, and fodder in your war. Yeah.
And Hood's like, the only thing I care about is that they have a choice. And he's like, so if you don't want to do it, whatevs.
Yeah.
But if you do, can you go here and you go here and you go here? And everybody shut up. Cool wagon. You guys have been doing such a good job. Turn this thing around.
Well, so awesome. Yes, so awesome. But the thing I love too is that he says, I'm going to ask him this, and then I'm never going to ask him anything ever again.
Oof.
In fact, they're not going to be my problem anymore. Some other god is going to have to deal with
all the gods
dead.
having to deal with their own dead.
Yeah. Sick. But then it gets even better than that. It gets even better than that because who is part of this army? Literally everyone we've seen die in the series up to this point.
What's up, Iskarja Rake? What's up, dude? Check.
Come on!
You still got one arm in death, brother? Let's see it. Woo!
The Malazan 7th, the Wiccans, Bolt, Brookhalion, the Grey Swords, Dujek, the Bridge Burners, Bowden!
Yes, brother.
Come on!
Let's go.
Come on!
Go. We are about to see the battle of battles, the war of wars. Is this just the beginning? Or are we going to see a crazy explosive last couple chapters? It could be both. But man, oh man.
Dude, so the thing that I'm just like, I'm not worthy about all of this is you have 7 novels where I am absolutely invested in the life and death of these characters. And when you take them away from me in these incredibly powerful, poignant moments, you know, the death of Brookhalion, the death of Dujek, the death of Whiskey Jack, all the entire chain of dogs, all of that is so powerful. I'm so invested in it. You've taken them away from me. And then to motivate a way to bring all those characters back, to have this, I mean, it's literally a have your cake and eat it too in the best possible way, because now I have all of this affection for these characters, and to see them assembled and united on one side of a line against this incredible threat, it just feels so triumphant and so earned, you know. Even as a reader, it's like I earned the right to be rooting for these guys because I know them all. I've been through the ringer with all of them.
Even when they're fighting each other, I'm like, are we going to get a troll? Are we going to get a...
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to see any candles? Sort of.
Exactly. What about what's his name?
Coltane.
Coltane. That's who I was like, is Coltane going to show up right now? Is Coltane going to? And he has not. Oh, I want him to show up.
I thought he was reborn already.
That's true. That is true. His soul was in something else.
Some baby somewhere.
So that may be why he's not here. But oh man, just like the way this all happens, it feels like, I hate to make this comparison. I said in the non-spoiler section, I try to eschew these comparisons but it does feel like that the moment in the Avengers Endgame, where it's like, hey, we got that actor and we got that actor and we got these actors and we got that actor, like
we get the grand crossover cover of the comic book.
Yeah.
In this
it's
scene.
all happening, and all these characters that we were certain would not see again get to ride again. And you're right. Turn the wagon around, which I don't even know what that means necessarily.
It was just tackling chaos head on. Like,
yeah.
Do we need the wagon? Can't we just break the chain? It seems like a lot of people, with enough work, weren't tied to the wagon. But like, the wagon's got to be something bigger. It's crazy.
Incredible. Hold on to your butts. Indeed.
My butts is long gone.
Long gone.
My butts is long gone.
Yeah, this book. Holy schlamoli. All right. That's how chapter 22 ends. We have one more episode of this novel, 2 more chapters in the epilogue, and we will see how this all turns out. Yeah, but what a ride. What a ride.
Thrilling.
Yes, indeed.
Thrilling.
All right, I believe I have 4 things to read.
I have 400.
Would you like to start?
Oh, you should start.
I have a short one I can start with.
Hit me with it.
Mixed in with all of my blueprints notes.
Your blueprints notes are in your Kindle?
No, I take pictures of whatever. I don't use my Kindle. I take a picture on my phone of the section. Yeah, I know it's stupid, but it's the way I do it. All right. Here's I think this is this is I guess not as short as I thought, but anyway, this is what's her name? Chalice. This entire damned world, she knew, consisted of nothing but thin veneers. The illusion of beauty survived not even a cursory second look. Cheap and squalid. This was the truth of things. He could paint it up all he liked. The stains on the sheets remained. Barefooted, she set out to meet him, imagining the whispers of the staff, the maids and servants, the guards, never within range of her hearing, of course. That would not do. Propriety must be maintained at all costs. They'd wait for her to pass until she was out of sight. It was their right, after all, their reward for a lifetime of servitude, for all that bowing and scraping, for all the gestures meant to convince her and people like her that she was, in fact, superior to them. The noble bloods, the rich merchants, the famous families, and all the rest. When the truth was, luck and mischance were the only players in the game of success. Privilege of birth, a sudden harmony of forces, a sudden inexplicable balance later seen as a run of good fortune. Oh, they might strut about, we all might, and proclaim that talent, skill, and cunning were the real players. But Chalice held the belief that even the poor, the destitute, the plague-scarred, and the beleaguered might possess talents and cunning, only to find their runs of fortune non-existent, proper rewards forever beyond reach. Servants bowed, and that they needed to do so was proof of just how flimsy the delusion of superiority was.
What a great section.
Yeah.
What a great section.
Yeah.
Ugh. And building into that scene of the contesting feelings of superiority. Primo.
So good. Yeah.
So good. I have a pretty short one. This is just the guard.
I love the guard.
Yeah. He could hear a distant storm on the plains south of the city. Steady thunder and echoing wind, and he told himself he was feeling that storm's approach. Nothing more. Just the usual fizz in the air that preceded such events. He hurried on, grimacing at the ache in his chest, still feeling the parting kiss of his wife on his lips, the careless hugs of his children round his waist. He was a man who would never ask for sympathy. He was a man who sought only to do what was right. Such people appear in the world every now and then, like a single refrain of some blessed song, a fragment caught on the spur of an otherwise raging cacophony. Imagine a world without such souls. Yes, it should have been harder to do.
Should have been harder to do.
This guard, he's
He's
special.
a good one. He's a good
one.
egg. Yep.
It's almost harder to picture a world with him in it.
Yeah. And that's what does that say?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then I have
this is a short one. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I have one single sentence I'll
go
follow
ahead.
it up with. Grief and self-pity seemed but faint variations on the same heady brew that was self-indulgence.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, hit me with your next one.
This is the shorter one I was thinking of. That is me. Sadly, there comes a time when a man must truncate his ambitions, cut them right down, not to what was possible, but to what was manageable. And as one grew older and more worn down, manageable became a notion blurring with minimal, as in, how could a man exist with the minimum of effort? How little was good enough?
Mm-mm.
You start off as a young person and feel like you can conquer the world, and then you realize, maybe not.
This is a section from Krupp's narrator perspective that I just loved about the hounds. Like a dozen bronze bells, hammered so hard they tore loose from their frames and, in falling, dragged the bell towers down around them. The power of the 7 hounds obliterated the gate. The flanking unfinished fortifications, the guardhouse, the ring road stable, the 2 nearby buildings. Crashing blocks of stone, wooden beams, bricks and tiles, crushed furniture and fittings, more than a few pulped bodies in the mix. Clouds of dust, spurts of hissing flame from ruptured gas pipes, the ominous subterranean roar of deadlier eruptions. Such a sound! Such portentous announcement! The hounds have arrived, your friends. Come, yes, come to deliver mayhem, to reap a most senseless toll. Violence can arrive blind, without purpose, like the fist of nature. Cruel in disregard, brutal in its random catastrophe, like a flash flood. Like a tornado, a giant dust devil, an earthquake so blind, so senseless, and so without intent. These hounds, they were nothing like that.
I know. I love that sequence where he's describing like what this all could be. Yep, nothing like that.
No, this is very deliberate.
These can be like that. Not this thing.
Good. These are puppies with a purpose. Baby.
So good. All right. I think this is Callor. Yeah, this is Callor's observation. Too often, scholars and historians saw the principle of convergence with narrow, truncated focus in terms of ascendance and gods and great powers. But Callor understood that the events they described and pored over after the fact were but concentrated expressions of something far vaster. Entire ages converged in chaos and tumult, in the anarchy of nature itself. And more often than not, very few comprehended the disaster erupting all around them. No, they simply went on day after day with their pathetic tasks, eyes to the ground, pretending that everything was just fine. Nature wasn't interested in clutching their collars and giving them a rattling shake, forcing their eyes open. No, nature just wiped them off the board. And, truth be told, that was pretty much what they deserved. Not a stitch more. There were those, of course, who would view such an attitude aghast and then accuse Callor of being a monster, devoid of compassion, a vision stained indelibly dark and all that rubbish. But they would be wrong. Compassion is not a replacement for stupidity. Tearful concern cannot stand in the stead of cold recognition. Sympathy does not cancel out the hard facts of brutal, unwavering observation. It was too easy, too cheap to fret and wring one's hands, moaning with heartfelt empathy. It was damned self-indulgent, in fact, providing the perfect excuse for doing precisely nothing while assuming a pious pose. Enough of that. Callor had no time for such games. A nose in the air just made it easier to cut the throat beneath it. And when it came to that choice, why, he never hesitated. As sure as any force of nature was Callor.
Oof, I had that same sequence pulled. It's so good.
So good.
Mm. Mm. All right, I have a bunch more, but I'm pulling one more because I
Okay.
had good work. But this is Endest Salan. Which Endest is the one who comes up against Callor later.
No, that's Spinock.
Spinock, right?
Yeah.
Endest, yeah. Okay. He now believed mortals were cursed. Some innate proclivity led them again and again on the same path. Mortals betrayed every gift granted them. They betrayed the giver. They betrayed their own promises, their gods, their ancestors, their children, everywhere betrayal. The great forests of Carcanis had been cut down. The squalid, dying islands of growth left behind and each one had fallen to fire or blight. The rich soils washed down into the rivers. The flesh of the land was stripped back to reveal bedrock bones, and hunger stalked the children. Mothers wailed. Fathers tried on hardened masks of resolve, but before any of this, both had looked out upon the ravaged world with affronted disbelief. Someone's to blame. Someone always is, but by the abyss, do not look at me. But there was nowhere else to look. Mother Dark had turned away. She had left them to fates of their own devising, and in so doing, she had taken away their privilege of blaming someone else. Such was a godless world. One might think then that people would rise to the fullest height, stand proud, and accept the notion of potential culpability for each decision made or not made. Yes, that would be nice. That would be something to behold, to feed riotous optimism. But such a moment, such stature, never came. Enlightened ages belonged to the past or waited for the future. Such ages acquired the gloss of iconic myth, reduced to abstractions. The present world was real, filled with the grit of reality and compromise. People did not stand tall. They ducked.
The reality of compromise.
Yeah.
Boy, does that speak to our time, huh?
Oh, yeah. Now everybody wants to point a finger, but they're pointing the finger. And if you point in their direction, they're getting out of the way.
Incredible. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Good. Book. Good.
Book. Good. We will be back to finish up Toll the Hounds next week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget to send in topics for the non-spoiler section at dlcfeedback@gmail.com. And also, don't forget to dance.
When the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality, open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the book club.